Hello, hello. How is everyone doing this fine Sunday? It's Sunday afternoon. Hope everyone's enjoying the weekend. My weekend's been okay, all things considered. Yesterday wasn't the best, but overall, still enjoying the time off from work, which is the most important thing. Let's see. Anything else to say? I need to get better about remembering to update the stream info before I actually start stream. But, you know, that's future me's problem. We killed Vlav. So that was cool. So now we're just going back to more... I don't remember what happened in the original after you killed Nero. It has been a hot minute since I played Tsukihime, so... definitely going to be a lot fuzzier on, like, where things occur from here on out. But yeah. Otherwise, we're just going to be hopping in for a few hours. And shaking it easy. Starting up with Day 6. Chapter 6. Whatever you want to call it. Many Kiseki fans I know, probably chuckling at that title. Let it be known, I'm not an Azure hater, but I can see why people would hate it. But, no, that's something else. Let's see. Soft rays of sunlight stir me from sleep. My eyes are closed, but I sense the serenity surrounding me through my skin. The air is cool, but gentle. It feels like it's going to be a beautiful sunny day. Time for me to wake up and actually act like a student. I'd all but forgotten about school, what with everything that happened these past 2 days. I open my eyes. I find myself in bed, my glasses neatly placed next to my pillow. By force of habit, I put on my glasses before looking around. The sunlight streaming in through the window is so vivid, I can almost hear the rays sparkle. I take a deep breath, filling my lungs with fresh air. That's right, it's Sunday. No school today. I hear the hands of a clock ticking, offering a rhythm to the chirping of the birds outside. I'm back. I don't think I've ever been more grateful to be met with such an ordinary morning. I'm not just grateful to have survived the night, or to have disposed of that vampire. After that gruesome experience, I'm just happy to be able to wake to something that resembles normality. This morning feels like happiness itself. For an insignificant human like me, there's no greater reward than... Hisui jump scare. The sudden greeting startles me into an upright position. I look over to find Hisui standing at attention in front of the door.
Hisui... 申し訳ありません。四季様がなかなかお気づきになられませんので。いや、こっちこそごめん。
That caught me off guard. My heart is pounding like crazy.
あれ、まだ7時前だけど。はい。四季様のお目覚めには少しばかり早い時間です。だよね。じゃあ翡翠は何をしに来たんだ。四季様を起こしに参りました。秋葉様からここ2日間の事情を説明してもらいますので、テコを使ってでも連れてくるようにとことづかっております。
Akiha, these past 2 days, explanation. Rose flabbergasted. Though I hear the words, it's as if they've lost all meaning. I spend about 10 seconds pondering them, resisting the temptation to abandon rational thought entirely. No matter how hard I try to think of one, I simply have no excuse for the past 2 days. I skipped school, I broke curfew, I basically went AWOL on Akiha. She was already pretty mad when I didn't make it back before dark. I dread to imagine the fury I'll face this time.
翡翠、控えめに言って秋葉のやつ怒ってる。さあ、どうでしょうか。それは四季様が直にお確かめください。
Oh, she's mad too. Isui sounds coldly unconcerned with my plight. If I had known things would turn out like this, I'd have done everything to get back, even if it meant crawling back. Wait, crawling back?
いや、ちょっと待った。それ以前に、なんで部屋で眠ってるんだ。 四季様は昨夜の午前2時過ぎにお帰りになられました。玄関口で眠っていたのを姉さんが気づいてお部屋にお連れしたとのことです。
I stare at her, slack-jawed. Staying out late without a word, falling asleep on the doorstep. I sound like some stereotypical drunk who missed the last train. My thoughts go back to Arquaid, though I guess I should be thankful she at least carried me to the front door. Either way, I have a better grasp of the situation now.
すぐに行くから、アキハにはできるだけ落ち着くように言っておいてくれると嬉しいんだけど。申し訳ありません。それは諸事情によりお断りいたします。
Her answer is simple and to the point. My standing in the Tono household must have hit rock bottom. Akiha is the head of the family, so it comes as zero surprise that I've got no allies. At any rate, I should get up. I won't get anything done by staying in bed. Yeah, you're still kind of like fucked up, bro. Ow. The second I stand up, my legs feel like they might explode. Of course, if there's anything I should be surprised about, it's the fact that I lived to see another morning. It's a wonder I survived, considering all the reckless stuff I did.
四季様、いかがなされましたか？汗がすごく。
It's true. My forehead is drenched in sweat. It only took one step for my body to become feverish with pain.
お体の調子が優れないのでしたら、もうしばらくお休みになられた方がよろしいのではないでしょうか。先ほどはああ申しましたが、アキハ様には私から。いや、大丈夫。ただの捻挫だ。すぐに収まるよ。それよりアキハの方が怖い。先延ばしにしたら余計に怒られそうだ。
Bro's like, I'm gonna die anyway, I might as well get in front of it. Aww. I could tell from her eyes that Hisui doesn't believe me, but her position prevents her from calling out my obvious lie. I feel bad, but she'll just have to accept it for now.
着替えたらロビーに行くよ。すぐに済ませるから廊下で待っていてくれ。かしこまりました。どうかご無理はなさいませんよ。おね。
Hisui bows deeply and leaves the room. Moving as little as possible, I change out of my pajamas. What a way to start my first day off at the mansion in 7 years. I find Hisui waiting for me in the hall. The wound on my left leg makes me want to scream with every step. The rest of my body feels heavy too, but that's just due to muscle soreness, nothing too severe. I only checked by running my fingers across my skin, but it seems the cuts I got when Vlov's ice slashed my face and shoulders have healed as well. It's clearly Arquaid's work, given how I can't find the slightest trace that the wounds were there. She did say she was gonna heal me up. Oh yeah, she fucking stuck like goo into you. Hello? Okay, that was weird. I don't know why that voice line didn't play. Are you about to give me like a cane? Hisui timidly hands me a long, slim rod. It's a walking stick. No, a cane.
はい。以前、用具室で見た覚えがありましたので、一縷の望みをかけて探してまいりました。
I almost laugh at her earnestness until I realize her breathing is slightly elevated. She must have run there and back for me in the short time I was changing.
ありがとう。正直、歩くたびにかかとから飛び上がりそうだったんだ。すごく助かる。はい。お役に立てたのなら幸いです。
The world's tiniest smile, but that's what makes it all the better, baby. Grasping the cane, I shift the weight being supported by my left leg to my arm. I should have no problem walking now. I thank Hisui again for her thoughtfulness, and together we make our way to the lobby. It doesn't take long to arrive. I leave the cane next to the door. On the other side of this door is the head of the Tono household, my younger sister by 1 year. She's waiting to hear her pitiful brother's equally pitiful excuses. I can't even imagine what terrible fate awaits me within. But now isn't the time to be whining. I brought this on myself. Regardless of the circumstances, I skipped a day of school, and didn't come home for 2 whole days. It's only natural that Akiha would want an explanation. Apologize properly, think of some excuse, tell her the truth. This one's actually tough. I know, okay, think of some excuse is going to be the worst. Like, that's just going to be, so it's really just between apologizing and telling the truth. Let's go with apologize properly for now. I can't tell her about Arkwade or Vlav. It'd just sound like a bunch of nonsense, and I shouldn't get Akiha involved in this mess anyway. So the truth is a no-go, but at the very least I owe her an earnest apology. I take a deep breath and open the door to the parlor. Oh, she is pissed. How does she manage to be this intimidating? I'm not sure that's... Okay, that's the level... Something tells me she's enjoying this. It's like she's a cat and I'm the mouse. With our conversation off to a terrible start, maybe it'd be better for me to run for the hills. All thoughts of escape have been dispersed by Akiha's glower. I endure the pain coursing through my left leg and sit down gingerly on the sofa. Akiha stops herself mid-sentence with a cough and sharpens her glare further yet. Can't let the dairy out just yet. Gotta wait for the next game for that. Akiha composes herself, elegantly taking her teacup into her hand. Although she phrased it as a question, it was unmistakably a command. But as her older brother, I just can't let her know about what happened. I'd rather she hate me than have her worry about me. She did not like that. Crash. The shattering of porcelain fills the room as Akiha's teacup falls from her hand onto the table. No, it'd be more accurate to say she deliberately dropped it. Her tone is enough to make cold sweat drip down my spine. Without another word, Hisui begins cleaning up the spilled tea and the shards of the exorbitantly expensive-looking teacup. Damn, Akiha sounds seriously pissed. Hisui exits the parlor as soon as she finishes cleaning. She's just like, you're telling me. Did time just rewind? She's clearly not planning to let this go. But there's no way I can tell her what happened. Not only for my sake, but for hers too. Akiha can never know the truth. There's a lot of stuff I'd love to clarify, but
言い訳のしようがないので。でもこの2日間悪いことはしていない。そう信じたい。
that's not exactly the excuse you were hoping it is. I can only describe these past 2 days as an endless flurry of death and carnage, but I want to believe that I made the right choice. I got to help Arkwade, of course, but more than anything, I'm glad we managed to kill that vampire. Even if we weren't fast enough to save everyone, there'll be no more talk of blood-drained murder victims or on the nightly news.
ごめんな、アキハ。迷惑をかけるけど、これ以上は聞かないでくれ。
This is the face I make when the person in front of me in line is taking too long to order. Akia stares deep into my eyes. An uncomfortable silence fills the space between us.
そうですね。考えてみれば、兄さんにも事情があるのでしょうし、私がそれに深く干渉することはできませんものね。
悪い。そう言ってもら。
Oh, sorry, I hit that too fast.
わかりました。この件に関して、これ以上の追及は勘弁して差し上げます。連絡をいただけなかった点については、私にも落ち度がありますから。
落ち度なんて、そんなのアキハにないだろ
う。携帯電話を取り上げたのは私です。あれがあれば、ズボラな兄さんでも連絡ぐらいはしたのではありませんか。
Oh, this could be really bad. Looks like she doesn't know that my phone was secretly returned to me quite some time ago.
ですが、それも今回だけです。今後はこのようなことは控えてください。兄さんは遠野家の唯一の男性なんですから、もう少しご自分の立場を理解していただかないと困ります。
I was really afraid that she was gonna be like, you know what, this is on me. I will give you back your phone. And then she like opens up the box and it's just empty. And then she just like goes turbo angry. Why'd I say angry? I just said angry.
良くない外文が広まってしまったら、遠野家の今後の人付き合いにも影響がありますし。
Our standing. Does she mean between me and the other dignified
い
families?
やー、それこそ問題ないだろう。俺が何しようと興味も持たないって、あっちの方々は。だいたい遠野の跡取りはアキハなんだから、家のことを思うなら俺をよそに出すなり、遠野の家にふさわしい婿養子でも見つければいいのに。
I met with silence once more. I wonder what might have caused it this time.
どうした？気分でも悪いのか？
結構です。私を気遣う余裕があるのでしたら、ご自分の体調を気にしてください。慢性的な貧血持ちなんですから。
She's right. I do collapse frequently due to my anemia.
ともかく、あまりお一人で屋敷を出ないでください。そうでなくとも、近頃の町は物騒なんです。兄さんみたいにぼーっとしている人は、通り魔に襲ってくださいと言っているようなものなんですから。
それなら大丈夫。あんな事件、二度と起きないよ。
Our town had been beset by a serial killer. Called a modern-day vampire in the news, the killer lurked in the darkness, striking terror into the hearts of men. No suspects had been found. But all of that is in the past now.
吸血鬼はいないってことだよ。その犯人はもう捕まったんだ。
そうなんですか。それは良い知らせですが。
I was about to say, like...
兄さん、よくそんなことを知っていますね。
ああ、たまたま逮捕現場に居合わせたというか。
Saying those words makes me smile wryly. It's technically the truth, one born of an incredible series of coincidences. So much happened during these 2 days I spent with Arkwade. Thinking back on it, it still feels like a dream. But at any rate, the monster that made its nest in this town is gone. I can't deny being somewhat proud of my involvement.
兄さん、どうしたんです？急に嬉しそうな顔をして。
別に何でもない。ただ終わったんだなってようやく実感できた。
The weight lifted from my chest as I say those words puts a smile on my face. Ultimately, it seems that Akiha has accepted my explanation. I thank her as I stand up.
いや、安心したらお腹が減ってきた。朝食をもらってきてもいい？
私に許可を求める必要はありません。朝食まで管理する気はありませんから、ご自由にとってください。琥珀なら厨房で朝食の支度をしているでしょうし。
Gotta love Nasu and his good old punching the chin pose.
サンキュー。じゃあ遠慮なく。
I make for the door. Ouch. My left leg really is killing me.
お待ちなさい、兄さん。先ほどから気になっていましたが、今のではっきりしました。足を怪我していますね。
いや、これは捻挫というか、筋を違えたというか、とにかく大した怪我じゃないんで気にしないでくれ。
そうですか。
Oh no, is she gonna like step on his foot? Akiha walks towards me briskly. She looks me in the eye, and without warning,
えい。
she stepped right on the most swollen part of my left foot, like she knew exactly where it's hurt.
あらびっくり。兄さんのポーカーフェイスも直接的な痛みには脆いのですね。
そりゃ弱いよ。っていうか俺の方がびっくりだよ。お前分かっててやっただろ。
誤解ですわ。大した怪我ではないという兄さんの言を信じて精一杯の勇気で試してみただけですもの。
Akiha flashes a graceful, oh so wicked smile. This is clearly payback for me not telling her everything. Akiha returns to the couch and elegantly lifts her teacup to her lips, as though nothing happened. She seems to be in a fantastic mood now.
さて、確かに大した怪我ではなかったけど、放っておくのも良くないわね。
Do we get to meet the funny doctor?
兄さん、課長として命じます。朝食が済み次第、診察を受けるように。怪我の理由はともかく、大げさに痛がられるのは迷惑ですから。
Either her or Kohaku.
そりゃ診察は受けたいけど、怪我の理由。
興味ありません。どうせくだらない理由でしょうから。だいたい聞いたところで私には内緒なんでしょ。
Akiha answers curtly, the very picture of authority.
外傷のない捻挫なら琥珀でも対応できます。あ、そっか。今朝は荒木先生にいましたね。あの人はもともと外科の医師です。内科の琥珀と外科の荒木先生。お好きな方を選んでください。
Huh. This is a little unexpected. This is actually tough, because boy do I love Kohaku, but also, like, Arak is a new character, so that means... Let's try with Professor Arak. I'll have Professor Arak examine me. She might be a bit of an enigma, but I guess she's a real doctor. She's even got the white coat and everything.
わかりました。荒木先生には私から伝えておきますので、あとは自室で待機していてください。荒木先生は予想のつかない方ですが、医師としての腕は確かです。ここで暮らすのなら頻繁に会う人ですし、これを機に親睦を深めてください。
Akiha speaks dispassionately, perfectly concise and to the point. Now then, I'll grab breakfast and have my leg looked at afterwards. Back in my room, I decide to read a book to kill some time. Around 10, I spot someone in white, leisurely swaggering down the hall through my window. That would be weird to be able to, like, see someone coming to your room. Like, because of the way, like, this mansion's set up, like, you can see into the hall outside your room. That would be weird. I close my book in preparation for what's coming. Sure enough.
Hi! Ohayo chan! 朝から体をいじってほしいとか？しきちゃんから超インラー！私、シチューみたいにたぎった思春期少年病の餌食になっちゃうのかしら？
He's the best. Without even bothering to knock, the drunkard barges into my room, clasping a flashy bag in one hand. I severely regret not choosing Kohaku.
すみません。どうも頼む人を間違えたみたいなんで、帰ってもらっていいですか？
Oh my lord.
ああ、嘘嘘。限りなく本気だけど冗談よ。外来の診察なんて久しぶりだから患者さんとの距離感つかめなくて、フランクな挨拶の方がいいかなって気を使ってみたのよ。
She chatters away as she approaches my bed, exaggeratedly swaying her chest and hips with all the subtlety of a runway model. Yet oddly, her footsteps make no sound, almost like a ninja. I'd noticed before that she normally clicks her heels as loudly as possible with every step. Does that mean she's actually taking this examination seriously?
はーい、それじゃあ患部を出してね、すぐ出してね。どうせなら裸になってね。お姉さん、溢れる興味を1秒も抑えられないから、もたもたしてると食べちゃうぞ。
How are you doing that with your mouth?
酒飲んでませんよね。
飲んでませんわよ。私、ジョージシラフだもん。アルコールなんて摂取するぐらいならチョコ飲むわよ、チョコ。
It's true that she doesn't smell like booze, but that would mean she's naturally like this. That is honestly like the scarier thing when you meet someone and they're like, "Are you drunk? Are you high? Like, what's going on?" They're like, "No, no, I'm just normal." And I'm like, "Oh my god, that's somehow scarier."
素直に見せてくれたわね。でも裾をまくし上げるだけ？パンツは？パンツ一丁にならないの？男の裸が綺麗な時期なんてせいぜい25までなんだから、今のうちに露出液つけておかないともったいないわよ。
Arak Sensei, I'm 20. I'm 26. What does this mean for me? What does this mean for me?
いいから早く見てください、博士。俺にも我慢の限度があります。
博士って言った？ねえ、今博士って言った？やっぱそう見える私。
まあ、白衣着ていますし、なんというか、ほら。
She looks exactly how I'd imagine a mad scientist to look.
ラブイ、古代ママリにラブイ。よし、ちょっと本気出すか。
Professor Arak crouches down and starts palpating my legs. It feels kind of weird. Rather than just running her fingers across my skin, she sends little taps resonating through my leg, though it doesn't hurt in the slightest. It's almost like a submarine using sonar to guide itself.
やったー。骨にひび入ってるわよ。しきちゃんは痛いの大好きな子だったのね。だってこんなの普通は我慢できないし。
Saving that one for later. Ah, so that's what it was. I'm actually kind of glad it's just a fracture. I wouldn't have been surprised if she'd told me it was straight up broken in places.
でも変な話ね。ここに亀裂があるってことは、この辺り折れてないとおかしいんだけど。雨村にかぶる私。
I'm sorry?
あんた何した今？
ちょっとした消毒よ。でもこれ開く必要ないわね。固定しとけば明日には治ってるわ。あらくつまんない。
Arak. Professor Arak scratches her head disappointedly and removes some medical equipment from her bag. She puts on a pair of brand new latex gloves and prepares a syringe.
一応痛み止め言っとくわね。必要ないんだけど、トシちゃんから念入りにって頼まれちゃったし。
Professor Arak presses the needle into my left leg with one fluid motion. Once that's done, she finishes by taping my heel and bandaging my leg to keep them in place. She's actually really good at this. I'd wager she's on par with the old man who used to take care of me when I lived with the Arimas. If only she could keep her mouth shut, she might be a great doctor.
ありがとうございます。おかげで助かりました。
いいのいいの。私所詮無面かつ専門外だし、本職は科学者だし。 しきちゃん、博士って呼んでくれたし。
She's like a Looney Tunes character. I think that's what it is. She's very Bugs Bunny core. She seems pretty happy about the professor thing. Judging by her reaction, I bet Akiha's never once called her that.
けどしきちゃん、ずいぶんと体に無茶させたみたいね。人体の運動性、その限界に挑んだ感じ？私、そういう無茶苦茶なの大好きだから医者として止めないけど。
おや、医者は本職じゃないんでしょ？
Oh, I really like those eyes. Those were scary eyes.
おとなしそうに見えて根は冷血みたいな。体だけじゃなく精神もハイブリッドなの？っていうか、あなた自分の体についてどこまで理解してるの？
貧血持ちのことですか？
そっちじゃなくて、筋肉と骨格のこと。エンジンとフレームでもいいわ。触れた感じ、君珍しい体してたから。
I don't like referring to someone's muscles and bones as the engine and frame of their, I don't like comparing humans to cars. That feels weird.
筋肉には瞬発力重視の側筋と持久力重視の遅筋があるわけだけど、しきちゃんは側筋メイン。それはいいんだけど、なんていうか軽いのよね。骨格じゃなくて骨そのものが軽いというか、なんか生まれつき自重をごまかしてふわふわ浮く不思議ちゃんみたいな。
何ですかそれ？骨が軽いって鳥ですか？俺は。
あ、そう、そんな感じ。こんなん自然には生まれないわよ。よっぽど配合に凝ったのね。しきちゃんはまさにサラブレッド。たった10秒走るためだけに生まれてきた。兄弟なのにトーシちゃんとは正反対。
So first of all, dropping hits about that, but then also talking about being a thoroughbred, more right than you would think.
正反対なんですか？
そう、遠野家の子はみんな優秀かつオールドな遺伝子の配合。異種配合の賜物だけど、トーシちゃんはちょっと例外というか特例つうか奇跡。先祖返り、まあ覚醒遺伝ね。配合を始める前の純粋なパターンを持っている。そうね、あなたが10年に1人の才能なら、あの子は10年、100年、1000年、さて何年に1人の逸材だと思う？
The corners of Professor Rock's lips curl as she poses me the question. I guess Akiha's the kind of person that only appears. She is a once-in-a-millennium Emoto.
なんて全部見当違いの話です。
Oh, okay.
人的才能と比べることさえおこがましい。トーシちゃんは万年に一人の怪物だもん。
Professor Rock laughs like she's having a great time. Without thinking, I ball my hands into fists.
あら、妹をけなされて怒っちゃった？私としては最上級の愛情を込めたつもりだったんだけど。
そうですか。だとしても今の言い方はやめてください。
I don't want her calling Akiha a monster. Now that I know vampires, real monsters, exist, I can't stomach that word being used to describe a human being. That goes double when it comes to Akiha.
あら、地雷踏んじゃった？キャー、私怖い。怖いから追いとめしちゃう。
Rock runs for the door, her heels clicking. I don't say anything to stop her. Yet the woman stops in front of the door, turning around with a sly smile on her face.
でもちょっと博士として忠告しちゃう。もしこの先もそういう怪我をする予定があるなら相談に乗ってあげる。しきちゃん、体がなまりまくってるみたいだし。どう？7年間の檻取ってみたくない？
I don't understand what she's getting at, but the idea of accepting her help makes me feel queasy.
謹んで辞退します。もうこんなことは起きませんし。
ええ、そうなるといいわね。
じゃあね。チャオ。私はいつでも待ってるわよ。
Professor Rock blows me a kiss and leaves the room. That was certainly something. Now that I can move around again, I should figure out how I want to spend the rest of my day. I'm gonna guess he takes a nap. Oh, no, we're out and about. It's already afternoon by the time I finish my lunch. After my examination this morning, walking doesn't really hurt anymore. I won't be able to go all that far, but where should I spend the afternoon? Walk around the garden, look around the mansion, way to town. I feel like they probably won't let me go to town, if I'm being completely frank. But let's take a walk around the garden. I'll take a walk in the garden. It's been a few days since I returned to the mansion, but I haven't walked around the garden even once. I'll go and see how it compares to my memories from 7 years ago. It's actually possible to enter the courtyard from the lobby. The exit is located just behind the main stairs. I walk out onto the terrace. It's the same terrace that stretches behind the parlor. When we were younger, this area was Akiha's space whenever the weather was nice. But really, it wasn't so much her space as it was the edge of her territory. Akiha didn't venture into the garden on her own. This terrace was as far as she could go. I think she wanted me to come by here whenever we went out to play. The slow fade into like the past filter. She said it was unfair if we went to play in the forest by ourselves or something. Which meant it was my role to take Akiha into the woods and then shoulder the subsequent scolding. I moved from the terrace into the garden. In the eyes of a child, the garden looked like it stretched on forever, but now that I'm older and taller, I can grasp it in its entirety. There are fewer flowers than there were 7 years ago, but the general atmosphere of the garden hasn't changed a bit. After about 10 minutes of leisurely strolling, I arrive at the gazebo. This is where the garden ends. All that lies beyond is a dense forest. Being mindful not to overexert my leg, I decide to end my walk here. I sit on a large rock and admire the vast garden in all its autumn splendor. From out here, the mansion feels closer to a castle. I feel so out of place in this picturesque scene that I can't help but force a smile. The only people who'd seem at home in a place like this are Akiha and... that astonishingly beautiful woman is the only other person I can think of. I shake my head to chase away the visions. Why am I thinking about Arquaid at a time like this? It's not like I'll ever see her again, Baka. Now that her target, Vlav, is gone, she has no reason to stay in Soya. That's why it's pointless to think back on all that's happened. She's gonna be here, isn't she? I stop myself short. There's no point in telling myself such a poor lie. Things may have calmed down since we parted, but that doesn't mean it feels great. But now I'm haunted by these feelings. Regret for the things I did, and for the things I couldn't do. Although she brought me nothing but trouble, our time together was, well, it was fun. She almost got me killed. Why can't I get her out of my head? The injuries from last night still scar my legs. Remember how Vlad nearly killed you. You shouldn't want to go through something like that ever again. Ugh. I sigh and leave the gazebo behind. I take my time on the way back too, wandering aimlessly through the garden. But my regrets refuse to set with the sun, and my thoughts continue to wander long after the light has faded from the horizon. Don't mind me. My afternoon wasn't all that eventful in the end. After absent-mindedly wasting some time in my room, it didn't take long for dinner time to come around. I forced myself to stop thinking of the blonde woman inhabiting the back of my mind. They say the sun sets quickly in autumn, but even so, it felt abnormally fast today. Just imagining one of those memes where it's like, that shows the brain of someone and it's broken down by how much they think about something, and his is like 90% arc weight, 5% killing, 5% being sarcastic. I must have lost all sense of time when thinking about this stupid stuff. Kiha is seated in the dining room with Kohaku at attention behind her, while Hisui has taken her position behind me. Kohaku has prepared a full-course meal with Wagyu beef as the entree. Oh. I don't know if it's because of Tono family manners, but Akiha is passing the dinner in silence, with a dignified look on her face. Akiha returned to the mansion about an hour ago. Apparently, some unexpected problems arose, and she had to dedicate most of her day to dealing with them.
Hisui, 念のため聞いておくけど、うちの夕食って死後現金だったっけ?
I keep my voice to a soft whisper so that Akiha doesn't hear.
いいえ、親族の皆様間での談話は自由に行われておりました。
じゃあ、アキハが黙っているのは単に機嫌が悪いだけ。
申し訳ありません。私には分かりかねます。あくまで憶測ですが、アキハ様はお疲れなのではないでしょうか。
No, that's fair. Like, sometimes you're so tired you literally just don't want to talk to people.
そっか。そりゃそうだよな。いつも不機嫌だけど、今は特にご機嫌斜めだし。ほんと、ご苦労様だこと。
Isan, I can hear you. Okay, yeah, yep, she totally can hear him. I nod in sympathy. I should probably give her some space to relax since her Sunday was ruined by extenuating circumstances. And I know better than to try and throw out a random topic. Yep, it's best to let sleeping Akihas lie.
聞こえていましたよ、兄さん。別に午後の視察で疲れているわけではありません。食事は静粛にが当家のマナーですから。
She glares at me sharply. I'm not surprised that she saw me talk to Hisui, but the fact that she actually overheard what we talked about is terrifying. Just how good is her hearing?
もっとも、それも過去の話ですが、どうしても話がある。今日一日の出来事を語り合いたいというのであれば、その限りではありません。
Nodding in acknowledgement, I resume eating. Since I had a small breakfast and lunch, I had worked up a reasonable appetite for dinner. But tonight's meal is difficult to look at. From the beef tenderloin and the foie gras to the deep crimson sauce, all the dishes remind me of what happened up to last night. A sudden murder, an impossible reunion, an equally impossible monster. And just as death had closed its grip around me, I also touched death myself. Not to mention, there was the long-anticipated farewell once we defeated the vampire. I'm pathetic. I've had the whole day to wallow, and I'm still not over it.
それで私の仕事ぶりをいたわってくれた兄さんは午後の休みをどのように過ごされたのです？
俺のことか。午後は散歩に出て部屋に戻ってからはずっとベッドで横になってた。
それはまた貧血ですか？
いや、考え事をしていたらいつの間にか夜になってたというか。体の調子は悪くないし、足の方も問題ないよ。
つまり、無意に時間を浪費したということですね。
Love how you get that frame of her being relieved that it's not anemia, but then just like mask back on.
そんなくだらないことを堂々と口にしないでください。私は何とも思いませんが、他の人が聞けば笑い物になるだけですから。
I have no way of rebutting her merciless words, but I'm curious about something she said.
確かに自堕落に思われる発言だった。というか自堕落だった。反省している。 けど、秋葉は何とも思わないってどうして？
Could it be that despite her strict demeanor, she's actually pretty lenient with her close relatives?
どうしても何もと私は当の式に何も期待はしていませんから。兄さんがそういう人であることは初めから承知の上です。
Savage. I see. There is certainly wisdom in that. You can't be disappointed if you're not hoping for anything. I'm truly at a loss for words.
いやー、ごちそうさまでした。
ごちそうさま。食後は習い事がありますので、私はこれで。兄さん、反省なされたのでしたら、今夜は早めに部屋に戻って勉学に励んでくださいね。
Kia rises from her seat and leaves the dining room. It sounds like she's got violin practice tonight. How am I supposed to keep up with someone this multi-talented?
四季さん、ファイトです。お茶様に負けないで。
Our resident mischievous housekeeper gives me some quick words of encouragement and a playful wave as she leaves the room with Akiha. After dinner, I take an early bath before returning to my room. I sit at the desk. Thinking back on what Akiha said, I decide to open a textbook and make up for the time I wasted today. No matter how crazy my life became over the past couple days, I'm still a second year in high school. I've got a mountain of work to do.
いや、山積みなんだけど。
But no matter how hard I try, I just can't concentrate. I keep seeing them in the back of my head. Unneeded visions of a woman who I should have forgotten by now.
ああ、もう、今日はやめやめ。
Giving up, I fall back onto the bedsheets and stare idly at the ceiling. It's okay. Tonight is the last time I'll have to deal with this. It was an intense couple of days, for better or for worse. It's not as if I could forget about it that easily. I'll need at least a day to cool down, which is what I'm doing right now, just letting my mind wander. I pass the time in a daze, hoping to distance myself from those memories and wash away the impressions they left on me. As long as I can manage this, the things that happened will fade into the past. My eyelids grow heavy. My consciousness drifts away, and slowly but surely, darkness wraps my senses in its embrace. Thus does my peaceful day off come to an end. I lie in bed and slide into a vague slumber, as if I can convince myself it will all fade away. Oh, okay, I was like, game? Is that already one chapter down? Holy! That was a really fast one. That wasn't even a full hour. I'm assuming that the, like, startup chapters are just a lot longer, because you have to fit in also all the different branches for, like, both Arcwade and CL Route. I slowly drift awake. My arm feels heavy as I reach out for my glasses. Looks like I've got a fever. The thought crosses my mind as though it were someone else's problem. I put on my glasses. My vision returns to normalcy, though a tinge of dizziness remains. The symptoms resemble a common cold, but it's just the flush of a light morning fever. It'll pass with time, like giving a cold engine some time to warm up. Someone knocks on the door. After waiting for a moment,
失礼します。
Isui enters the room with a
お
bow.
はよう、翡翠。今朝もありがとう。
おはようございます。四季様。お目覚めになられていたのですね。
What is it where the second you have an alarm or something that's like gonna wake you up, you will somehow always manage to wake up like just a couple of minutes beforehand?
ああ、昨日はぐっすり眠ったから。 着替えたらすぐに食堂に行くよ。琥珀さんにはちょっと熱があるから量は少なめだって伝えてほしい。
かしこまりました。体温計は必要でしょうか？
いらないよ。どうせいつもの微熱だし。
それでは着替えはここに。食堂でお待ちしております。
Isui bows and leaves the room. It may be my imagination, but her bow doesn't feel as crisp as usual.
心配してくれてるのかな。でもこんなの本当にいつものことなんだけど。
I appreciate the feeling, but it's really no big deal. I mean, if we want to talk about people who've had it rough, she should see Arcwade. That wound of hers was no joke.
しかしガムテープは本当ないよな。見てるこっちの血の気が引いたし、今度会ったら。
I stop before finishing the thought. There is no next time. We won't be seeing each other again. It's better to avoid getting involved with someone like that.
そうだ。それがいいに決まってる。
Yes, we will never see her again. By the time I get this through my head, today is Monday. It's the beginning of the week, and I'm eager to get started. I wash my face and get dressed before heading over to the parlor. Akiha is sitting on the sofa. It's just after 7, but she's already enjoying her post-breakfast cup of tea.
あら、おはよう、兄さん。今朝は早いんですね。
My waking up early has Akiha in a good mood, it seems.
おはよう。秋葉の方こそいつも早う。
All of a sudden, I'm struck with a bout of vertigo and grab my head. The dizziness persists. My body heats up like I've never felt it before.
兄さん。
I hear the sound of rustling clothes, then footsteps towards me.
どうかしました？顔が赤いけど、熱でもあるんですか？
いや、熱は確かにあるんだけど。
Akiha comes closer and peers up at me from below. Strange. For some reason, it feels like it's worse when I'm looking at her.
少し熱があるようですね。昨夜はきちんと毛布を使いましたか？環境が変わったから調子を崩しただけでしょうけど、念には念よね。そこで待っていてください、兄さん。今琥珀を呼びつけますから、朝食の前に熱を測りましょう。
Kia looks over to the lobby. She's probably thinking about going over to the kitchen and getting Kohaku. I avert my gaze from Akiha in that moment. As I do, my dizziness passes.
いいんだ、秋葉。琥珀さんを呼ぶまでもないよ。起きたばかりで体調が悪いだけだから、いちいち気にしないで。
体調が悪いのならなおさら放っておけません。風邪だったらどうするんですか？些細な病気でも兄さんには大事でしょ。免疫や抵抗力が人より低いんですから。
Visibly irritated, she brings her hand to my forehead. Her delicate palm is cold to the touch, enough to send a shiver run down my nape. For the briefest moment, I cease breathing. Akiha is right. Something is wrong with me today. I don't know why, but every movement of hers makes me tense. Just watching her causes my temperature to spike. The realization hits me that I might faint if she keeps touching me.
兄さん、随分と暑くないですか？
Akiha's words ring through my skull. It feels as if her long black hair and porcelain skin have evaporated into heat and trickled into my head. This is bad, but the feeling will fade. Fatigue must be causing it. My body hasn't had enough time to recuperate. Before I end up doing something incredibly stupid in front of Akiha, I make my move.
よし、休養を思い出した。
I brush away her hand and scurry off like a panicked rabbit.
四季様、朝食まであと5分ほどかかりますが。
そうか、ありがとう。俺のカバンは？
Sorry, hit my mic.
カバンでしたら。
Hisui is prepared as always. I thank her and take it in my
行っ
hand.
てくれ。見送りはいいから。
お待ちなさい。熱があるのに何をしているんですか、兄さんは。第一、廊下は走らない。妹の言うことはきちんと聞くが我が家のルールです。おとなしく居間で熱を測ってください。
He has come to the lobby to stop me. But luckily for me, her reluctance to run indoors is slowing her down.
悪い。ルールを守るのはまた後で。熱も下がったし、このまま学校に行ってくる。朝飯は勝手になんとかするから、今朝は多めに見てくれ。
なんとかするって、ちょっと、兄さん
Oh, shit, sorry.
熱も
なんとかするって、ちょっと、兄さん待ちなさい。何ですかその言い分は。後で守るルールなんて、それじゃ規則とは呼べません。
She's so funny when she gets flustered. In an effort to escape Akiha's objections, I burst out of the entrance. I clap my hands together and whisper a heartfelt apology to Akiha in my head. Honestly, I'm grateful that she's concerned for my well-being, but I can't just be like, by the way, whenever I look at you, I get so dizzy I feel like yeah, you probably shouldn't be saying this to your sister, dude. By the way, whenever I look at you, I get so dizzy I feel like I'm gonna pass out. Not when she's so worried about my health. And who knows what kind of pain might be in store for me if I came clean. Breathing out a huge sigh, I finally settle down. I should be safe here. My assumption is that Akiha wouldn't be immature enough to drop her schedule to come after me.
怒る理由がルールについてなのが秋葉らしいな。
I laughed to myself, thinking back to what she said. She may be my sister, but I still can't tell where her boiling point is.
コンビニにでも寄っていくか。
My wallet's not doing too hot, but I ought to at least eat something. I only ever hungry on days like this. Usually I'd be fine skipping breakfast, but today I'm starving. I'll just grab something small to hold me over until lunch. It only takes a couple minutes to get in and out of the store. I arrive at school 30 minutes earlier than usual. There aren't many students around. By my count, there's 2 or 3, including myself. Though in as little as 10 minutes, the front gate should be packed with students. Naturally, the guardrail is devoid of an unbelievably beautiful woman sitting in wait for someone. The athletic clubs are in the middle of their morning practice. I watch them out of the corner of my eye as I approach the entrance. Working up a sweat is actually pretty enjoyable. There's something about it that makes me feel alive. But I never wound up joining a club. I didn't want to burden anyone with my anemia. Plus, my doctor had strongly advised me to avoid strenuous exercise. When I was a first year, I was invited to join a few times, but I always told them, maybe next time. And each time I did, I felt the distance between us grow. In the end, maybe the feeling of not wanting to get involved with others became a self-defense mechanism. This isn't the time for silly sentimentality. I shout out some support to the clubs knee-deep in training before making my way to the main building.
あらら、おはようしきくん。今朝は早くない？
はい。ちょっと時間を間違えて。おはようございます、ノエル先生。
I run into Miss Noel on the way to the classroom. She seems just as surprised as me to see someone around at this time.
時間を間違えると遅刻するんじゃなくて、早くから登校しちゃうんだ。しきくんはあれね、勤勉かね。今時の若い子なら、もっと気楽に生きていいんじゃない？
十分気楽にやってますよ。勉強好きでもありませんし。それより、金曜日の無断欠席についてですけど。
ああ、あれね。大丈夫。お家には連絡入れてないから。たった1日のボイコットなんて普通だものね。しきくんだってその方が都合が良かったでしょ？
World's single best teacher. Ms. Noel flashes a devious smile as she utters something I'd never expect to hear from a teacher. My savior. This must be what saved me from the full weight of Akiha's fury. Actually, isn't Ms. Noel being a bit too lenient for a teacher?
あ、しきくんたら頭固いんだ。 先生は不真面目なわけじゃありません。生徒の自主性を尊重してのことです。だってみんなこんなにも若くて美味しそうなんですもの。1日ぐらい背伸びして遊びに行くのは仕方のないことだと思うの。
いえ、遊びに行っていたとかそういうんじゃなくて。
なんて、分かってます分かってます。例の貧血でしょ。真面目な四季くんが火遊びをするわけないものね。
Why would you say it like that, huh?
それで体の方は大丈夫？痛いところとか残ってない？
It sounds like she was genuinely worried about me. Ms. Noel actually wasn't too far off the mark with her joke, but I won't be correcting her.
貧血の方はなんとか。今朝は特に調子がいいです。
さあ、それはよかった。じゃあ今日から気楽な学生生活に戻れるわね。ところで、慢性的な貧血という話だけど、四季君はいつからそういう体質なの？
生まれつきではないんです。子供の頃に事故に遭って、それ以来というか。
Can you become anemic from like an accident?
まあ、それは気の毒に。それで運動をしなくなったり、食欲が薄くなったりしたのね。それで、どんなだったのかしら。
はい？
My voice slips out at the unexpected question. Ms. Noel licks her glossed lips and speaks.
だから、どんな事故だったの？と聞いたの。体がおかしくなるぐらいの怪我だったんでしょ？やっぱりすごく痛くて、泣きわめくほど怖かったのよね。それこそ、一度死んで生まれ変わってしまうぐらいに。
An indescribable dread takes hold of me. Not from her insensitivity. It's been obvious from day one that she's a busybody, and I don't think she's great at reading the room. What makes me hesitate is that I don't remember a thing about the accident.
ただの事故ですよ。こうして無事だし、大したことじゃありません。そろそろ時間だし、失礼します。
I bow before moving past Miss Noel.
四季君、
I turn around in response to hearing my name.
体調がいいのなら、今日からしっかりね。これ以上、無断欠席はしない方が身のためよ。
The returnee from France winks before leaving for the faculty room. I thought I'd be the first one here, but a few of my classmates are already in the room.
早いな、遠野。金曜どうしたん？
おはよう。金曜は体調不良。そっちは朝練終わり？
そうそう。放課後の部活動だけじゃなく、朝練まで自重しろって話になってきてさ。首相を交代したばっかだってのに、こんなんじゃ統率取れねえよ。
Even the sports clubs are feeling the effects of all this vampire business. Though that'll change soon. That stuff is over now. Things should go back to normal. Five minutes till homeroom. Just as I'm bracing myself for a full day of classes.
やっほー、サボりまー。おはようございます。
It's my goat. We haven't seen him in so long. A voice from behind sends my peaceful morning shattering into 1,000 pieces.
やっす、不良くん。金曜日はナイス無断欠席でしたね。おかげで今朝また一段と元気ありそう。なんだよ、金土日と寝込んでたんじゃねえの？
寝込んでないし、貧弱でもない。金曜日はたまたま気分が悪くなっただけで、家に帰ったら回復したよ。面倒なんでそのまま学校は休んだけど。
マジか。あの豪華なお屋敷でのんびりアンニュイライフとか、たった3日でお貴族様の仲間入りかよ。相変わらず気も太いっつうか順応性高いっつうか、ほんと住めば都なのな、遠野は。めちゃくちゃ羨ましくねえ。
This is a powerful sprite. I will have to use this sparingly. Arahiko puts up a brave front. I could probably learn a thing or two from
言
him.
っとくけど慣れてないぞ。お前な、あの家がどれだけでかいか見てないから。有彦、遠野の屋敷知ってるのか？
にゃ、知らぬ。あんだけ高いところにあって、かつ周りは塀と林だろ。いや、デバガメ根性で見たいけどよ。でもほら、 オタク、セキュリティとかおすごいんでしょ？
俺が知るか。ああ、いや、恵子さんの話じゃ年に数回泥棒騒ぎがあるらしいけど、遠野邸に警察が駆けつけたことなんかないって言ってたし。
お前、それ年に数回賊が押し入るのに警察が来ないって、それやばくね？
どこが？
If they're catching the burglars before the cops can even get to them, wouldn't that mean the place's security is top notch?
いやだからよ、そもそも外に出てきてねえんじゃねえの？その
Guy's
泥
like,
棒さ。
dude, if they're not going to jail, where the fuck are they going?
なるほど。それならどんな噂も広まらないか。
We nod our heads in agreement. Afraid of where this train of thought might lead us, we quickly decide to change the subject.
そうそう、土曜の事故現場、もう見たか？北口駅前の大火事、地下からの出火だったって話。
いや、まだ見てない。話だけは聞いているけど。
俺、北口に改装前のデパートあっただろ。あの前にあった公園がごっそり地下に陥没してる。あれひでえぜ。元に戻すの1年はかかるんじゃねえかな。でもまあ、悪いことばかりじゃない。警備員やらテレビ局やらが押し寄せてるんで、北口のバカども、鳴りを潜めやがったからな。
そうなのか。じゃあ、倉見橋駅のホテルの話は？
倉見橋のホテルって、あのドームホテル？ああ。そういえばあっちでも火災があったんだっけ？北
Can't blame Arhiko for feeling so indifferent about it. An incident of that scale, which claimed so many lives, is still just a story from another town. We live in a time where we're flooded with news. Even when we hear something terrible, it's quickly overwritten by the next tragedy.
何に物騒なのは変わらねえってことか。
Gonna be getting a lot of use out of that one.
そういうお前さんもどうなんだよ。当のは中学からこっち貧血持ちのくせに学校だけは休まなかったじゃねえか。ま、登校した瞬間に帰るっていう離れ技は何度かあったけどな。
それと似たようなものだよ。交差点あたりまでは登校したんだけど、そこで気分が悪くなって帰ったんだ。
弓塚といいお前といい、最近素行が悪いんじゃないか？
素行が悪いっていうのは否定しないけど、弓塚さんどうかしたのか？
木曜からずっと欠席。今朝も来てね。あいつもずっと優等生してたからな。いい加減テンパってたのかもしれん。しかし振り点だから上がれないと。
Isn't it sad, Sachin? Arhiko certainly has a way with words.
おっと、じゃ俺はこれで。さらばだ。金曜サボった分真面目に勉学に励むがいい。
Arhiko hurries out of the room. He seems excited about something. I'm guessing he's going to hide out in the nurse's office. It's his turn to ditch class, it seems. I forget, are we already at the point where people forget about CL, or is that later? I feel like she's still here. The moment lunch break begins, Arihiko reemerges, yawning. It's obvious he's been sleeping this whole time.
よく寝た。殿、飯食おうぜ、飯。
I'm positive Arihiko's mind runs on an endless loop. Eat, sleep, eat, sleep, sex, repeat.
そりゃ飯は当然のように食べるけど、いいのか俺なんかに構って。ランチは先輩と一生がお前のマイブームじゃなかったっけ？
あ？先輩とランチだ。
Arihiko pulls a sour face at my question. She must have turned him down today. Okay, I think we are at the part where everyone has forgotten about her. We eat lunch together. Arihiko is bright-eyed and bushy-tailed after his nap.
宗谷駅前で検索と。
Phone in hand, he scours the web looking for new information. Being disconnected from the world for even a few hours is a life-or-death matter. You'd think he was just addicted to his phone, like... You'd think he was just addicted to his phone like every other teenager, but Arihiko's cut from a different cloth. To him, this isn't just a way of killing time. He's looking for ammunition to help him survive each night he spends prowling downtown.
また定番のコンビニレジ強盗ですか。店員刃物で腹部を刺され重傷、犯人はアルコール依存症。言ったそう。酔っ払いに話通じねえもんな。やっぱ買い物は通販に限りますな。
Drunk customers might single-handedly be the worst people imaginable. Arihiko continues to work his way through his lunch as he messes around on his phone. A modern version of a father reading the paper during dinner. I mean, you're not wrong. But now isn't the time for societal critiques.
食事時にその手のニュース読み上げるの楽しいか？
楽しくねえですよ。けど世間に興味を持たない間抜けな友人のために世の中の物騒さを知らしめなきゃならんでしょ。聞いてますか、遠野くん。北口は倒壊するわ、酔っ払いは人を刺すわ、無差別に人を殺す通り魔はいるわ。他人事じゃねえかもなんだぜ。
それは確かに。でも通り魔事件はもう起きないんだ。北口の事故はどうしようもないけど、それ以外はいつも通りってことだろ。
そうなの？通り魔って捕まったんだ。
いや、捕まってはいないだろうけど。
The culprit is already dead. There'll be no more tacky headlines in the news about a modern-day vampire roaming the streets, nor will anyone be killed so senselessly.
ともかく、もうあんなふざけた事件は起きないし、犠牲者も出ないってこと。街は元に戻ったんだよ。
Clueless.
しかし、犠牲者は出ると思うぜ、遠野。
出ないよ。なんで断言できるんだよ、アリヒコ。
Because one just happened.
だって、おい、今朝で9人目の死体が発見されたって、今ニュースで流れてる。
Arihiko shows me the screen of his phone. I can't believe my eyes. The site has a new update on the murders with a picture of the north side of Soya Station.
マジかよ。ここいつも行ってる映画館の裏じゃねえか？
待て。もう一度よく見せてくれ。
I take Arihiko's phone from his hand. It's not some crackpot theory or random hypothesis. Ninth victim of serial killer confirmed by police at press conference is emblazoned on the phone's screen. The revelation has me stunned into silence. Blav is dead. I killed him myself. Then why? How could there be more bodies drained of blood turning up?
しかし、現代の吸血鬼か。相手が美人のお姉さんなら座れちゃってもいいんだがね。
Listen, you're real for that, but not the time, bro. Arihiko's words are like ice against my skin. I wouldn't mind getting sucked dry by a beautiful lady. He's obviously kidding, but it doesn't feel like a joke to me. The discovery of a new victim means there's still a vampire in our midst. And if we were to use the process of elimination, who that vampire is should be abundantly clear. Blav is gone, which leaves only one vampire remaining. Oh no, are we approaching the third act low point? Even though this is far from the third act. Classes come to an end, and school finishes for the day. Or maybe I should say school was over before I knew it. The worst possible assumptions had clouded my mind, and by the time I realized it, I was sitting alone in an empty classroom. Before, I wouldn't have given it a second thought. But she said it herself. She's never killed any humans. I can't see her lying to me about that. Only Arkwade would know the answer to that question. If I could just find her, I'm sure the pieces would all fall into place. That's why I don't understand what I'm thinking. This is no longer any of my business. When I finished off Love, I went back to my old life. I did my job. My part in this should be over. I have no reason to dive back in. Why would I go back to all that craziness of my own volition? I should just go on home, keep walking down this path as if nothing ever happened. I'll go home. That has to be the next best alternative. though I've been taught since I was little to always choose the best option. His words saved my life. I've always tried to live by them, so I can't pretend like this has nothing to do with me. This isn't over. Now that I've gotten myself involved, it's my responsibility to see this through to the end. I leave the school. Although I don't have any idea where she could be, I still have the key to her apartment. So I'll start there. The apartment looks the same as when I last left it, but Arkwade is nowhere to be seen. There are signs that she's been here, though. I'm relieved that she hadn't just disappeared into thin air. I could wait for her here, but there's no knowing if she'll be coming back. I'll probably have to look for her in town, just like how I first met her. The sun sets over the city, paving the way for night to reveal itself. I take a look around all of the major spots, but I don't manage to catch a hint of Arkwade. What do I do? It's still early in the evening. I feel like we don't want to push our luck any more than we have to with Akiha, so let's go back to the mansion. It's 7 o'clock. This has always been a quiet street, but once night falls, it's almost completely silent. I'm about to press the call button to get the gate unlocked when I remember that it's just before dinner. I'm sure Kohaku and Hisui are in the kitchen right now, and I don't want to bother them. I'll use the keycard I have to get through the side gate. It had left my mind completely. I remember what happened this morning as I passed through the gate. Could Akiha still be angry about me leaving in a hurry? Yes. Of course she's gonna be upset. Anything, all this time has probably only let her anger simmer and boil. Running away from my perfectionist sister has likely lit an unquenchable flame inside her that will continue raging until it's doused. She's definitely not someone you want to make an enemy of. But it's been 12 hours since the shenanigans this morning. Comparing her anger to a balloon about to burst would be a grievous understatement. I sigh as I mull over the mess I'm in. But it's not like things will get any better with me standing here shaking in my boots. I brace myself for whatever calamity is awaiting me and open the door. I enter the lobby, trying to sound as natural as possible. That's strange. I can hear voices from the parlor. It's just before dinner. It's odd that anyone would be in the parlor at this time. Kohaku should be in the kitchen, and I can't exactly see Hisui and Akiha chatting with one another. Either that or we have a visitor. Just as I'm about to head over to the parlor and find out for myself, Hisui exits the room. Could she be coming to greet me after hearing me arrive home? Something about her expression seems off, like she's gloomier than usual. Oh, she is mad. Hisui stares at me blankly. She doesn't even give me a welcome home.
何かあった？気のせいか怒っているように見えるんだけど。
四季様にお客様です。
That fucking face. So many sprites in this have just like the slightest variations, but it like adds that much more to like the specific emotions they're trying to convey.
先ほどから今でお待ちですので、どうぞお急ぎください。
俺に客？
Peacefully nods.
おかしいな。俺を訪ねに来るやつなんていないはずだけど。引っ越したことを知ってるのは有彦ぐらいだし、最近知り合いになったやつもいな。
Wait a second. A terrible feeling washes over me.
翡翠、それどんなやつ？
金色の髪をした綺麗な女性の方です。
There's only one person I know who fits that description. My reflexes take over. I break into a dash, sprinting towards the parlor as fast as my legs will carry me.
何がどうなってんだ
I swing open the door and enter the room of death. But it's already too late. There's no stopping this now. My end is nigh.
あら、お帰りなさい。兄さん、今夜もまた。定例通り遅かったですね。
あ、やっと帰ってきたな、こいつめ。妹。あ、
Didn't mean to hit
や
that.
っと帰ってきたな、こいつめ。妹さんばかりが私まで待たせるとか、やっぱり普段から横暴なのね。
They stare at me with polar opposite expressions on their faces. I know what this feeling is. This must be how a captive feels when they're forced to plead for their life with a gun pointed at the back of their head, like in an action movie. Words fail me. I'm unable to come up with any kind of response. I can't believe Arkwade and Akiha are face to face in the same room. They're both sitting on the sofa like there's nothing amiss at all. Though, unlike Arkwade, who seems perfectly calm, Akiha has bitter contempt written all over her face. Akiha glances at me.
どうしたんですか、兄さん。そんなところに立っていないで。どうぞこちらに来て座ってください。
No way. I inch a little closer to the sofa, but the feeling that I might be stabbed by a knife keeps me from moving any nearer.
ここでいいです。それよりアキハ、こいつはだな、
How do I even begin to explain? I doubt I can get away with calling her a classmate, and saying she's someone I met in town would probably just make things worse.
何ですか？
Akiha's glare pierces into me. I can tell I'm not going to be let off the hook here. Yeah, I don't think there's anything I can say that'll dig me out of this hole. Still, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings or disturb what little peace I've found. There's got to be a way to explain. But what's she even doing here in the first place? How could she sit there smiling away like that? I can't imagine Akiha would let someone she's never met before into the parlor.
その前にいいかな。こいつなんて言ってやってきたの
Arkwade tilts her head in confusion.
兄さんのご友人ではないんですか？この方はそう自称しましたが。
ああ、うん。友人といえば友人。
そうですか。私にも紹介していただけると嬉しいわ。兄さんのご友人でしたら、無下にお帰りいただくわけにはいきませんし。
Oh god, that is one of the scariest expressions ever when someone is, you can just tell they are mad. They are the maddest they will ever be in their life. But they are, everything on their face and their mannerisms are like, oh yeah, hey, how's it going? Yeah, I'm being a nice person right now. But like the second they are alone, or if like the person they're trying to like put on a face for leaves the room, yeah.
それはですね、アキハさん。
Kudos to the voice actor here. I mumble.
友人ね。
Arkwade works her way to the conversation, probably tired of being ignored.
あんなひどいことしておいて、そういうこと言うんだ。私、まだ体が痛いんだけど。
Flashbang. My head whirls. Now this is some vertigo. Lord, I find myself decoupling from reality with astonishing speed.
それはどういっ った意味でしょうか。私の兄が身体面あるいは精神面においてあなたに危害を加えたとでも？失礼ですが、ご自分がどれほど信憑性のない発言をしているか理解していますか？
Oh god, she's gonna say something like, oh, and Shiki, he told me that I was his first.
ええ、バッチリね。でも安心して、そんなのもう気にしていないから。ちゃんと体で返してもらったし。
Oh my fucking god.
なので、どうぞお構いなく。私は式を誘いに来ただけだもの。すぐに出かけるわ。ね、そうでしょ、式。
Akia is making the fucking Tails gets troll face right now. The more she talks, the shorter my lifespan gets. As a matter of fact, I will be,
Yeah!
I force a laugh as I make for Arquade, grabbing her arm.
ちょっと式、急に何するのよ。
There's no time to listen to her complaints. Dragging Arquade by the arm, I bolt out of the parlor, leaving a stunned Akiha behind. Hisui is waiting in the lobby. I wonder what she's thinking, seeing me with Arquade in tow. I have the hunch I won't like the answer, so I'll worry about that later.
お出かけですか、式様。
不本意ながらすっごく申し訳ないんだけど、玄関の鍵は開けておいてほしい。
はい、かしこまりました。どうぞ、大変お気をつけて。
I hurry past the bowing Hisui and try to get away from the mansion as fast as possible.
痛いな。いきなり外に連れ出すなんて、式って常識ないんじゃない？
I've never heard a stupider question in my life.
お前こそ何のつもりだよ。真正面からうちの屋敷に来るなんて正気じゃないぞ。もしかして俺の生活をぶっ壊すつもりなのか、このバカ女。
バカ女って、あなた私をバカにしてるの？
God, this chapter has been amazing for great
バ
sprites.
カをバカって言ってんだから、それ以外何があるって言うんだバカ。
I'm actually livid. I've never been in such an infuriating situation before. I have to give her a piece of my mind, otherwise I won't be able to let this one go.
何よ。私は式に会いに来ただけじゃない。そんなに怒られるようなことしてないと思うけど。
会いに来ただけって、アルクエイド、お前本気で言ってるのか？
そうだけど、何よ。何の問題もないからね。魔眼も使ってないし、極めて人間的なアプローチしたんだし、四季の妹さんにだって四季の目のことも私が吸血鬼であることもちゃんと黙っててあげたんだから。
そこは言わなくてもわかる。そっちの話に関しちゃ常識ありそうだからな。
わかんないな。それじゃあなんでそんなに怒ってるのよ、あなたは。
そっちがあんまりにも考えなしだからだよ。この際だからはっきり言っておくぞ。周囲の目を考える、自分の特徴を自覚する。頼むからもうちょっとおとなしめに行動すること。お前はいるだけで目立つんだから。
Ew. It happened. I saw the sprite like on Twitter and I'm like, oh my god, it's peak. I feel better now that I've said what needed to be said. Though Arquade, who'd been on the receiving end of it, seems the complete opposite. She glares at me like a pouting cat.
何よ、勝手なことばっかり言って。だいたいいるだけで目立つってどうしてよ。私、外見は人間と変わらないでしょ。
美人はいるだけで目立つんだよ。人間であるかどうかなんて関係ない。
I replied to her frankly. Maybe it's because I gave her a straight answer, but Arquade readily accepts it.
まあ、こっちも言い過ぎた。こういう修羅場は初めてだったから、気が動転してたんだ。
別にいいよ。悪かったのは私の方みたいだし。
Arquade bows her head in a show of honest remorse. Somehow, I'm starting to feel guilty for thinking she may have had some ulterior motive.
で、どうしてうちに来たりしたんだ？いや、俺もお前に話があったから渡りに船だけど。
そうなの？私は単に式はどうしてるのかなって様子を見に来ただけなんだけど。
I just came to hang out, dude. You got Smash?
そうか、興味本位か。次は木の陰にでも隠れてこっそり見に来てくれ。できるだけ誰にも見つからないように。できれば俺にも見つからない
I
よ
don't
う
want
に。
to see your ass. I feel exhausted all of a sudden. Though this isn't exactly the first time I've been caught up in one of Arcwade's little whims. And the fact that she didn't tell Akia anything means she at least put some consideration into my position
と
here.
もかくだ。真剣に話したいことがある。ここじゃ落ち着かないから場所を変えたいんだけど。
いいけど、話って何よ？
すぐにわかる。そうだな。そろそろ人気もなくなるし、公園あたりがいいかもしれない。
I motion toward the road and start walking. Arcwade tilts her head in curiosity, but follows after me without a word. Going to the Melty Park, baby.
話して。
Shit. Ah.
すぐにわかる。そうだ。
Did not mean to rewind, as far as I did. Ah. Oh, okay.
吸血鬼のこと。お前、前に言ったよな。巷を騒がしている通り魔殺人は吸血鬼の仕業だって。
Arcwade nods.
それじゃあ、今朝のニュースで新しい犠牲者が出たっていうのは知ってるか？昨日の夜に通り魔に殺されて血を抜かれたらしいんだけど。
She narrows her eyes. I can tell I've stepped on thin ice. One wrong step will be the end of me.
それで？
それでって。
I swallow nervously. Arcwade peers right at me. Her eyes tell me that she's ready to pounce at the slightest movement.
おかしいじゃないか、アルクエイド。ブローブは死んだ。なのに、どうしてまだ吸血鬼騒ぎが起こる？まさかとは思うけど、あれは、お前が。
This is your doing, I...
はあ、もうそんなわけないでしょ。それは私じゃなくて他の吸血鬼の仕業よ。
Arcwade interjects, slicing through the tension. Strange happiness wells up in my throat. But I shouldn't get my hopes up yet. It's great that it was another vampire, but there's still a couple things that don't make sense.
他の吸血鬼の仕業って、そう次から次へと吸血鬼が出てくるのか？
まさかあの事件は初めから一人の吸血鬼の仕業よ。この町を食い物にする新しい吸血鬼なんてやってこないし、ブローブだってあの事件には全く関係ないわ。
That was always one of the funniest things when I read the novel for the first time. It's like, yeah, we're here to hunt a vampire. Do this whole arc about killing Nero. Yeah, that wasn't the guy I was hunting. Like, what are you, stupid? Flav was never connected?
関係ないって、それどういう意味だよ。
言った通りの意味だけど、もう式って切れるようでどこか抜けてるのね。いい？確かにブローブは吸血鬼だったけど、あいつは人の血を吸っていた？
Yes?
吸っていたかって当然だろ。あいつはあんなに人間を片っ端から燃やして。
No, but he also drank he literally drank that lady's blood at the hotel. So that's it. How did I not notice something so obvious? The bodies left behind by the serial killer had been drained of blood, but they were otherwise... oh, okay, this is what he means. Okay, that makes sense. But Vlav was different. He burned his victims. He drank their blood too, but draining them was never his modus operandi. Come to think of it, the victims at the hotel weren't connected to the serial murders. They were treated as casualties of fire. Which means Vlav must not have had any connection to the serial murders to begin with.
待ってくれ。じゃあ吸血殺人事件は何なんだ？一体どこの誰があんな真似をしてやがる？
だからあの事件はブローブとは別の吸血鬼の仕業なの。私はその吸血鬼を殺すためにこの町にやってきたわ。ブローブが来た理由は、 ちょっとあやふやになってきたわね。てっきり私を追いかけてきた一人かと思ったけど、ブローブにはそれだけの理性、使徒社会における協調性はなかったみたいだし。ま、そのあたりはもういっか。ブローブは死んだんだし。とにかくブローブとこの町に救っている吸血鬼は別物よ。ブローブは正真正銘無関係の第三者。私、標的がブローブだなんて言わなかったでしょ。ブローブにとっての標的は私だったけど、私にとっての標的はこの町で通り魔と言われている吸血鬼だけよ。シキ、まさかとは思うけど、ものすごく単純な勘違いしてたとか。
I swallow nervously. Arquade's right, though. She said her goal was to kill the vampire, which I just assumed was Vlad.
それじゃあ何か。あの夜ブローブと殺し合ったのは無意味なことだったっていうのか。
無意味じゃないわ。シキは私の代わりに戦ってくれたんじゃない。ま、シキさえ私を殺さなかったらその必要もなかったでしょうけど。
The exhaustion hits me such that it feels like my knees will give out at any second. It was all pointless. Killing Vlad changed nothing in the end. There's still a vampire in town, and even if it was just for a split second, I tried to pin the blame on Arquade. Shit. Disappointment and self-loathing swirl around in my head.
悪い。しつこいけど、最後に確認させてくれ。ブローブは吸血鬼殺人には関係なくて、ここ1ヶ月街を騒がしているのは別の吸血鬼ってことだな。
うん、そういうこと。でもこれは私が済ませる問題だから、式は気にしないでいいよ。そんなことよりねえ。
Arquade looks up at me, a wide smile brimming across her face.
なんだよ。言っておくけど、ものすごく余裕がないぞ、俺。
My feelings are all over the place right now. Anything she says could knock me right off my feet.
ちょっとした疑問よ。二人でブローブを倒した時のこと。ねえ、なんで3分だったの？
なんでって何が？
式、3分しか時間はないって言ってたじゃない。どうして3分なのか全然わからなくて。
あのな、言っただろ。あそこは海の底みたいなものだって。だから3分しか無理だって言ったんだ。
海の底だと3分なの？
That was a close one. If I was feeling like my usual self, I would have shot back with something snarky.
まあ、そうだよ。人間はお前みたいなのと違って、それぐらいしか水に潜っていられないの。
何よ、私だってちょっとは寒かったわ。海の底だって何時間も潜ってたら退屈だし。
I was chilly, she says. Meanwhile, I genuinely thought I was dead.
下を向いてどうしたの？
いや、ちょっとめまいがして。気にしなくていや。実際海に潜ったら3分だって怪しいからな。人間はか弱いんだから、頑丈なお前と一緒にするな。
I wave Arquade off with one hand as I cradle my head with the other.
今さら言っても始まらないか。お前たちが化け物じみてるのは身に染みてるし。いい。ブローブのことは俺がバカだった。それよりアルクエド。
I calm myself and begin to say something, but when I look up... Aww. What's with that expression on her
アル
face?
クエド。
何よ、式の意地悪。どうせ私は人間じゃないですよーだ。
Arquade turns the other way in a huff and starts walking.
おい、ちょっと
人間な式には関係ない。ついてこないでよね。
Arquade storms off without even a glance in my direction. She seems genuinely upset. Man, where is she going? I must have struck a nerve. Looking back, maybe I was being a little bit unfair.
いや、でも、そんな悪口言ってないぞ。
Did I? Considering how mad she is, I feel like I must have earned it. Like, really earned it. In fact, I kind of feel like an asshole.
ああ、もう、悪かった。今のは俺が悪かった。だから待て、止まれってば。
I rush after the white silhouette in front of me. Not just because I feel guilty. In case she's forgotten, we still have important things to discuss. Arcwade walks through the night, full of purpose. Her golden hair flutters in the air. She looks the same as she did when I first laid eyes on her. The same as when she first faced Vlav amid all that collapsed rubble. Gone is the tenderness I felt a second ago. She has the air of a hunter stalking its prey, her movements now sharp and deliberate. Arcwade doesn't respond. She continues marching forward. The white huntress doesn't stop. I can't back down. But I also can't manage to do anything else for now, so I follow behind her silently. Tap, tap, tap. We walk in complete silence except for the sound of our footsteps. Until, that is, Arcwade comes to an abrupt halt and turns toward me.
あなたみたいな普通の人間にいられると迷惑だってわからない。
人間で悪かったな。何をしているのか教えてくれたら帰るよ。
式には関係ないからほっといて。
Arcwade twirls around and begins walking again. Well, damn. Looks like I'm getting the silent treatment again. We leave the shopping district and come to an underpass when Arcwade stops suddenly.
見つけた。
Arcwade's voice is cold. She sounds like a completely different person. A shiver trickles down my spine. Even from behind, I can tell by her posture how ready she is to fight.
何を
Doing. I don't say it. I know exactly what she's doing without having to ask. A pure, unbridled hostility flows from her, freezing the air.
おい、何考えてるんだ。
Arcwade doesn't answer. Her gaze is fixed on a perfectly normal-looking man in a suit.
式。メガネを外してあの人間を見てみなさい。
あの人間って、前にいるあの男。
早く。私が何をしているか知りたいのなら質問は後よ。
あんまり街中で見たくはないんだけど。
I remove my glasses. My temples throb. In exchange for the pain, the lines running across the ground and walls come dimly into view.
確認しておくけど、あなたの線は生物の方がはっきり見える？
ああ、その方がより確かに見える。
でしょうね。あなたは生物だから鉱物の死を理解できない。形の上の摩耗というカテゴリーの結果は見えても、鉱物たちにとっての終わりは見えない。死を見るためには命を理解しないといけないから。それじゃあついでに聞くけど、今の式から見てあの人間はどんな感じ？
I don't see how he'd be any different. I step back by reflex. What is that? Every human being has lines on them. Most only have a few, though, which gently trace their bodies in geometric patterns. But what the fuck is that? The lines are scrawled across his entire body, like bulging veins and arteries. The man's covered in them. I can't even see what he looks like under them all. I want to throw up. He's backwards. That's not a person with lines. It's as if the lines themselves have assumed a human form.
式にはどう見える？私としては式には普通の人間に見えていてほしいんだけど。
I'm unable to give Arcwade an answer. It takes all my focus to not vomit.
そう、残念ね。式はあれにも死を見てしまっているなんて。
あ、なんか普通とは違う。けど、線は見えてる。
やっぱり死者さえ殺せるのね、あなたは。
That's so sick. You could kill that which is already dead.
命があるなしの問題さえ無関係。動いているもの、破壊できるものなら例外なく停止させる。何よ、本当の化け物はあなたの方じゃない。
え？
式が見ている通り、あれはもう人間とは呼べないわ。 死という負債を他人の血でごまかし続ける吸血鬼だから。
Arcade quickens her pace. She makes a beeline for the unexceptional-looking man.
おい、アルクエイド。
式はそこにいて。
The man disappears from sight, perhaps having become aware of Arcade. Or, to be precise, the thing leaped away with inhuman speed. He flees deeper into the safety of the darkness beneath the tracks. Arcade is already nowhere to be seen. She's left the refuge of the rusted lights to follow the man into the darkness. Thump. I can feel my heartbeat in my ears. It's still early in the evening. A car passes by with its headlights blazing. A train rattles along overhead. Despite all this noise, I lose the sense of anyone around me. Thump. All caps this time. My glasses. I need to get my glasses back on now. If I don't, I'll see something far worse. Something so dark, so terrifying, it'll make the things I've seen pale in comparison. Thump. But my body won't move. My eyes eagerly gaze into the darkness, as if drawn to the patchwork world that Arcade has entered. I blink, and silence envelops me. The wind, even the smell of the earth. It's like everything has been frozen in place. Screeching. Under the ice-cold moon, an eerie noise emanates from beyond the shadows. Grinding. I shouldn't be able to see anything, or even hear. Squelching. But I did see it. My eyes catch a glimpse of the moment death meets death. My vision turns vermilion. How is it possible that these eyes see death even in pitch darkness? My glasses. If I don't get them on this minute, I think I'll lose it. Fighting off the urge to vomit, I slip on my glasses with trembling hands. Light and sound return. I steel myself and scan my surroundings, but find nothing out of place under the tracks. Nobody around. A couple cars, maybe, but it's still just a normal city at night. Pocket of civilization where humans can live, sheltered from danger. An oasis where no harm shall ever befall them. I have trouble breathing. Even with my glasses on, the creature's death lingers in my peripheral vision, making me sick.
アルクエイド。
Out of the darkness emerges Arcade, her footsteps unsteady. She's breathing even harder than I am.
式。そっか。まだ残ってたんだ。
Arcade averts her grimacing face and sways past me. Her steps seem weak and frail. To be honest, I still haven't gotten over my own nausea. But seeing Arcade in such pain, that's now the least of my worries.
待てよ。一体どうしたんだお前。
I grab Arcade's shoulder as she tries to leave. Arcade turns slowly, her eyes flat.
大丈夫よ。少し疲れただけだから構わないで。式には全然関係がないんだから。
バカ、疲れているなら休め。変に汗かいてるし、どう見ても重症だぞ。
Take hold of her arm as I try to control my own breathing.
何よ。そういう式だって今にも倒れそうな顔してる。
俺のはただの貧血。いつものことだ。人を気にしてる余裕があるなら自分の体も気遣えよ。
Cheeky, you are like the worst person to be saying this. Like, even if this advice is correct, you're not the person I want to hear it from.
いいのよ。どうせ気遣っても無駄なんだから。
Arcade's breathing is so weak it pains me to hear.
まさか、お前、あの時の傷。
I can't finish the question. She got that wound protecting me. Arcade casts her eyes downward, refusing to answer. That must be a yes.
もう、何度言わせるんだこのバカ。そんな体でおとなしくできないのか。
おとなしくしてるつもりなんだけどな。
全然してない。人間離れしてるからって治りきってないのに出歩くやつがいるか。
This is making me realize just how angry I am. I can't let her do this. I can't abandon her no matter how much trouble she is.
お前、本当に何してんだよ。ほら、黙ってないで答えろ。 話してくれるまでお前から離れないからな。
Grab her by the shoulders. Her eyes remain downcast, but she manages a slight nod.
もう割としつこいのね。いいわ。それじゃあ場所を変えましょう。どのみちさっきのも外れだったみたいだし。
Arcade brushes away my hands and spins on her heel. We're not headed for the shopping district, it seems. Instead, she guides me toward the park. We arrive soon enough. Did her injuries heal on the way here? She appears to be back to her usual self.
あっさり元に戻ってるし、もしかしてさっきは油断して傷を負ったとかいうオチじゃないだろうな。
え？違うよ。傷が治りかけなのは本当だってば。
治りかけなのは本当だ。本当じゃないことも言ったってことだよな。
何その言い方。すっごくいやらしいんですけど。
お前の言動が怪しすぎるんだよ。文句があるならさっき何をしてたのか話してみろ。大方予想はついてるけど、何をあんな痛がってたんだ。
さて、それじゃあ式のお望み通り、私が何をしていたかを話してあげましょう。
She's clearly doing this to change the topic. Then again, this is what I wanted to know. How she's feeling can wait for the time being.
じゃあ確認からさせてくれ。さっきのやつは吸血鬼の手足になってる死者だな。あれの大元がお前の本当の敵？
なんと、今度は話が早いのね、式。
そいつはどうも。俺だって少しは頭は回るからね。さっきの話で大体の事情は飲み込めている。
うん、良きかな良きかな。式の可愛い勘違いはブローブのことだけってことね。
可愛いって言うな。仕方ないだろ。あの時は自分のことだけで手一杯だったんだから。
ふん、自分のことだけで手一杯ね。ま、そういうことにしておいてあげましょう。
Arcway twirls around like something's fun about all this and peers into my face. What's with her?
いいから話。さっきの男はもうとっくに死んでいたんだな。
そうよ。あれはあいつのしもべだから始末しただけ。下級の使者だったけど、それでも放っておくと人間を殺して力を蓄えられてしまうから。式、ホテルで話した吸血鬼の話、覚えてる？
Of course, I nod. The ecology of vampires. Castellans in the hierarchy of their subjects. Sires hunt and kill humans to turn them into their minions. They then hide away while those minions gather blood for them. Arcwade also spoke about the differences between Castellans and the older types of vampires. Immortal, weak to the sun, the stereotypical vampire.
それはもう教えてもらった。じゃあ、お前の追っている敵とやらが殺人事件の吸血鬼で間違いないんだな。
ええ、間違いないわ。たとえあいつが手を下したのは最初の一人だけだとしても、そこから発生した死者たちの殺人は全部あいつの成果になる。だから
さっきみたいに街を歩き回って吸血鬼のしもべを探していた。そうすれば親の居場所がわかるのか？
強く親に結びついたしもべならね。けど今のところ外ればっかり。棺、敵の潜伏場所が見つからないのはそれだけ多くの死者を使っているからよ。あいつが自分の手を汚すのは数回だけ。あとは死者にした人間を操って自分は眠っているだけで領地を広げていく。この町の犠牲者は100人を超えている。あなたたちが騒いでいる犠牲者なんて人知れずいなくなった人間の一部分に過ぎないわ。
Hearing it all again makes my blood run cold. 2 days ago, I had thought Vlav was the cause of all of this, and being able to channel all these emotions into killing him is what kept me sane. But this time is different. The murders continue. More than 100 victims attacked, drained of blood, and killed by former humans. But then they're robbed of their rest. They've become walking corpses like that clump of lines, and are made to prowl the town for more victims. It was just 3 days ago. I recall the people annihilated at the hotel. Though I was there too, I wasn't able to witness their final moments. That's why I can only imagine the butchery that took place that night. It's no different now. It's hard to fully accept the notion that there's a vampire out there thirsting for human blood, all for the sake of stretching the boundaries of its domain. You're saying it's expanding its domain? Some kind of domain expansion? But it does beg the question. How would I feel if, without the slightest warning, one of my loved ones was killed in such a horrific way? It's a morbid thing to consider, that's to be sure, but I ponder it for a second. I picture Akiha having her blood drained and being tossed away like garbage. Breath hisses between my teeth as I try to rid myself of the vertigo gnawing at my brain. The very thought of that should enrage me, yet I feel strangely cold. Now's the time to think, not the time to let my emotions run rampant, I tell myself. The fact is, there's a very real possibility that this could come to pass as soon as tomorrow. It's pitiful that I never realized just how much danger we were in, but I can chastise myself for that later.
やっぱり怒ったわね、シキ。私があなたに話したくなかったのは、これは捕食される側、人間にとってどしがたいものだからよ。シキにしてみれば、吸血鬼の行為は認められないものでしょうから。
She's right. Morality and correctness have nothing to do with this. I just can't accept what they do. Even if the victims were complete strangers to me, each of them had a past and future to call their own, all of which were dashed in an instant. I may not know what those lives were like, but that doesn't make them cheap commodities to be used and discarded. I wouldn't want to die like that, at the whim of some creature. It's just too cruel. Cruel and wrong. It's also meaningless.
でも安心していいよ、シキ。吸血鬼たちの天敵はこの国にはいないみたいだけど、今は私がちゃんといるんだから。言ったでしょ。私の目的は町を犯している吸血鬼を退治することだって。
Arcade brightens in a flash, a far cry from her attitude a moment ago. Honestly, her words make me feel a lot better. I know just how incredible she is and how far she'll go to protect humans. She shielded us from Vlov's ice without a thought for herself. But that also gives me pause. An obvious question I've had since even before the fight with Vlov.
それがわからない。アルクエイドだって吸血鬼なんだろ。どうしてそんな人間の味方みたいなことをするんだよ。
私、別に人間の味方をしているわけじゃないよ。それ以外にやることがないからやってるだけだもの。
She just has nothing better to do?
ま、そんなことをやっているから狙われるんでしょうけど、そこはそれ、必要経費みたいなものかしら。
いや、お前の言いたいことはまるでわからないけど、その例えだけは間違ってるぞ。
まあまあ、細かいことは気にしないで。そんな引く手あまた、ヘイトいっぱいな私だったけど、シキがブローブを倒してくれたでしょ。あとはこの町に潜んでいる敵を見つけて、なんとか始末してみせるから。シキは今まで通り普通の生活に戻って、私たちなんかに関わらなくていいんだよ。
ああ、うん。そりゃ嬉しいけど。
Are you really sure you'll be okay on your own? The words form in the back of my mind, but I shake my head to send them away. Something must be wrong with me. Why should I care if she winds up getting herself into danger?
シキ？何よ、また難しい顔しちゃって。シキの聞きたい話ってこれで終わりでしょ？他には何もないと思うけど。
I mean, I have about 1,000 more questions, but right now...
そりゃ難しい顔ぐらいする。これは俺たちが住んでいる町の問題なんだから。
だから気にしなくていいんだって。これからは毎日町を見て回って、もうこれ以上犠牲者は出さないようにするし。それとも、そんなに私の性能を信用できない？
I really don't want to get involved, but protecting the city, it should be the responsibility of someone who lives here, not Arcade.
アルクエイド、その、お前の言う敵は強いのか？あのブローブよりもっと。
まさかブローブはああ見えてもその一人よ。この町に救った吸血鬼はブローブより純度は落ちるわ。
そうか。ならお前がやられることはないんだな。
断言はできないわね。ちょっと前までの私なら問題なかったと思うけど、今の私は病み上がりだもの。敵の
Hold on just a second. I nodded along without really thinking about what she said. Arcade is on the
い
mend?
やいや、風邪でもひいたのかお前。というか吸血鬼って風邪ひくのか。
ええ、とんでもなく野蛮な通り魔を一つね。塔の式っていう名前の悪質なウイルスなんだけど、ご存知かしら。
Another powerful sprite.
ああ、いや、それはごめんなさい。
Pretty sure I just kicked the hornet's nest.
冗談よ。式の傷はもう治ってるわ。ただちょっと治すのに想定以上の力を使って疲れてるだけ。痛いのはブローブから受けた傷の方。こっちはまだ外を塞いでいるだけだから。
Arcade touches her stomach lightly. I'm responsible for that wound too. She only got it because she protected me. I'm at a loss. All of Arcade's pain has been my fault. So then why? Why doesn't she hold even the slightest grudge? How can she smile at me so innocently?
やめろよ。せめて傷が治るまでどこかで休んでればいいじゃないか。
ダメよ。ブローブと戦ったことで敵も私が来たことに気づいているはずだもの。休んだりしたらそれこそ私が弱っていると知らせるようなものだわ。
だからって今夜みたいな真似を続けていくのか。
ええ、敵の居場所がわからない以上、あいつに血を送っている死者を片っ端から潰していくしかない。そうして血の供給源を断てば本体が直に血を吸いに現れる。
それがもし明日だったらどうするんだ。弱っているのを隠したところでそんな体じゃ逆に殺されるようなものなんだろう。なら
I stop short of telling her not to push herself and stare at my feet. Arcade is right. If she shows even a hint of weakness, the vampire will come to kill her regardless. Shit. Sorry about that. These last 2 days have taught me something. When it comes to fighting, Arcade can be brutal to the core. Rather than avoiding personal injury, her strategy is all about finding a surefire way to take down her enemy. She prioritizes her objective above all else. She doesn't force herself into believing anything but the truth. Arcade isn't going to stop. I won't get another chance to talk with her like this if I let her go. She's not scared of death. So why'd she have to smile like that? If I could have just not seen that smile, if she just acted more like a vampire, I wouldn't feel like this.
どうしたのシキ？体震わせちゃって、もしかしてトイレ？
Yes, Arcade.
お前ってやつは。
She's so carefree about all this. I lift my head. In front of me stands the woman in white. I can't pretend like none of this happened. I don't know what this feeling is, but I know I can't forget the 2 days we've spent together. That's why, if I leave her now only for her to wind up dead tomorrow, I could never forgive myself.
勘弁してくれ。ただでさえ両目が壊れてるのに頭まで壊れかけてる。
Don't want to deal with vampires anymore. The fight with Flaw flashes through my mind. Terror still lingers in my bones, enough to send a chill up my spine. It's the same now. This other vampire is supposed to be strong too. There's no need for me to involve myself. Arcade says she can handle it, so I should just leave it to her. And yet, even though I know that's the logical thing to do, I can't let her do this alone.
ああ、もうどうかしちまったのか俺は。
I kick at the ground. More than anything, I'm pissed off at just how illogical I'm being.
何？どうしたのシキ？いきなり怒り出しちゃって。
そりゃ怒りたくもなる。なんだって俺はあんな目にあったっていうのにこんなたわごとを口にしようとしているのかって。
The idea of what I'm about to utter makes me dizzy. If I had a mirror in front of me, I'd give my reflection a smack in the face.
落ち着いて。普通じゃないわよ、あなた。
なあ、普通じゃないさ。普通じゃなかったらこんなこととても口にはできないだろう。
Cursing to myself, I scratch at my head like I could drag the words right out. As much as I don't want to believe it, I've already decided. I said as much, didn't I?
もう全然わかんない。ちゃんと説明しなさい。さっきからこんなことって何がこんなことだって言うの？
だからお前の体が治りきるまで手伝ってやるってそう言いたいんだよ、俺は。
Aw, that was cute. Arkwade looks taken aback. I finally got it out, in a way. Now that I've actually said the words, I start to calm down.
四季、今の本当？
I groan. Even I still can't believe what I just said.
私、ちょっと聞き損ねちゃった。お願いだからもう一度言って。
Another groan. But it's too late to go back now. I stopped being able to lie to myself the second I said it.
早く。私、今のセリフもう一度聞きたい。
She urges me with a voice close to a whisper. Averting my gaze from her beaming face, I try my best to sound angry.
だからアルケイドが弱ってるのは俺の責任だし、街にはびこってる化け物を放っておけないし、弱っているお前一人じゃ頼りないから、俺でよかったら手伝ってやるって言ったんだ。
If you'll have me, fucking... Good lord.
四季。
Arquade's eyes practically sparkle. She grabs my hand happily and shakes it up and down.
まあ、俺じゃ大した役には立たないだろうけど、いないよりはマシだろう。
四季が手伝ってくれるなら怖いものなんて何もないんだから。
Arquade continues giving my hand a vigorous shaking. Considering her ridiculous strength, I'm honestly afraid my arm will come out of its socket before long, but I can't bring myself to stop her. How do I put it? She looks so happy. Honestly, truly happy. Seeing that, it makes me feel like maybe I've made the right choice after all, despite how insane it sounds. This is going to be the end of the chapter, because if it is, I will probably call stream here. Long black screen. Oh, no. Damn it. They got me. By the time Arkwade finally releases me from our handshake, it's almost 9. My head hurts thinking about what will happen once I get home, but that won't be for a while, now that I've decided to lend my support. We've got a vampire hunt to plan.
それで、これからどうするんだ？やっぱり街を歩いて死者を探すのか？
そうね。この町にいる死者を全滅させれば親元の吸血鬼は出てこざるを得なくなるでしょうし、今はそれぐらいしか手はないけど。
Is that okay with you? Her eyes ask.
いいも何も、俺はアルクエイドに付き合うだけだ。餅は餅屋って言うし、専門家に従うよ。
And just as I say it, Arkwade looks at me with a wide grin on her face.
なんだよ。おかしなこと言ったか？
うん。四季、やけに素直だなって。
Maybe I should start acting a little tougher. I have a feeling she'll be asking crazy stuff of me if I don't draw the line somewhere.
行くぞ。街を回ればいいんだろ。さっきの高架線下とか、もう一度調べてみるか。
うん。死者は互いに食い合わないよう、犠牲者の数を一区間に集中させないよう、それぞれ活動ルートを定めているの。一晩に食事をさせる死者の数は決まっている。今夜はさっきので打ち止めだと思うけど、せっかく四季がいるんだし、もうちょっと探索してみましょうか。互
いに食い合わないようにか。本格的に統率されてるんだな。もっと無差別なものかと思った。
親元の吸血鬼にしてみれば、血液の採集は娯楽じゃなくて生存するための必要作業、仕事だもの。ルーチンワークを良しとするのよ。
貴重な労働力ってわけか。でもそれだと向こうも手を打ってこないか。アルクエイドが数を減らしているんだから、ここから先は 増員させるか、あるいは死者を引っ込めて姿を隠すとか。
基本的には出し渋る方でしょうね。けど吸血鬼である以上、どうしても他者から血や精を搾取しないと生存していられない。親元は私に狙われていると分かっていても、最低限の食料を得るために死者を出すしかないってわけ。
I get it. Arcade wants to starve them out. It would be nearly impossible to find our target just by looking, so we'll have to flush them into the open. Cut off all their other options and give them no choice but to go out and hunt for themselves. Once they make their move, Arcade will be able to sense them, and that's when the real hunt begins. We're gonna stop this at the source, just like with Flav.
状況は分かった。とにかく夜になったら街を歩き回ってまだ活動している死者を見つければいいんだな。
ええ。それでシキ、あなたにはメガネを外してついてきてほしいんだけど、いい？
メガネを外してってなんで？
その方が確実だから。私は人間と人間じゃないものの気配を感じ取れる。あなたは聖者と死者の違いが視覚情報として読み取れる。索敵方法は大いに越したことはないでしょ。
Arcade's explanation makes sense. Plus, I'm the one who agreed to help, so there's no reason for me to decline. I just don't know if I'm comfortable with this.
あなたの体に大きく負担をかけることになるでしょうね。でもいい機会だからもう一度だけ確認したいの。シキが大丈夫だと判断するのならメガネを外してついてきて。
Sorry. She wants me to walk around town without my glasses, huh? In the 7 years since I got these glasses, I've never once tried to do that before. Looking at inanimate objects is enough to give me a headache, so it's not hard to imagine what strolling through town with my eyes exposed would do to me. But even so, it's okay. One little headache won't kill me. Besides, a headache is nothing compared to what Arcade has to deal with right now.
いいよ。メガネを外してついていく。それで型がつくって言うんなら安いもんだ。
そう。なら行きましょう。
I take a deep breath, remove my glasses, and set off into town. Ugh. Alrighty. I think I am actually gonna call it here regardless. I'm feeling a tiny bit eepy. So probably gonna try and take the rest of today easy. Keep an eye out on Twitter, which you can find below in the description. Or my bio, rather. I should have a stream schedule posted up starting tomorrow for the upcoming week. As of right now, I believe plan is still for New Broke Boys a week from today. And then in the upcoming week, going to try and do more Tsukihime. Maybe some Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know. This upcoming format has me not super excited, so I haven't been doing a lot of TCG stuff. Maybe we'll do Master Duel, like ranked grind. That could be fun. With that being said, yeah, we will call it here, and I hope that you all have a good rest of your Sunday evening, afternoon, depending on time zone. Yeah, have a good one.